Well, here it is, 4 a.m. on Saturday morning here in Australia. Now I'm going to begin the 15,000 kilometre journey to the States to go see Microsoft Ignite. I've just gotten out of bed. Right, so here I am in Orlando, jet lagged, as you can tell. So jet lagged, I forgot to press record the first time I did this. Anyway, obviously there's been a fair few meetups and some pre-day stuff. Lots of stuff is coming in Ignite for Microsoft Teams users and unified comms people this year, and I figured I'd just go through a couple of them. Obviously, there's going to be a fair few announcements at Ignite this year. I expect a few things to come out. You know, we've got some important news. We've got Surface Hub 2. We've got, obviously, Teams is gaining speed very quickly over Skype. We have a session on Skype for Business 2019, but there is a very big focus in that Teams is going to be the future, in the fact that there is like one session for Skype, and that's Skype for Business Server 2019. The rest is Teams, or transitioning to it. Anyway, so I figured what I'd do is I'd just quickly go through my session builder and just call out a couple of sessions. I think if you've got the time, or you're looking at you're looking at sessions and not sure what to go to, have a look at these ones. I think they're going to be really important. So obviously go to the Keynote. The Microsoft Keynotes are usually pretty good. If you can't make it into the main hall, they normally have it so you can watch it in the eatery. So they've got big screens, and you take some headphones. You should have got headphones in your swag. Go there, make sure you see the Keynote. There'll be a ton of stuff announced there. It's usually pretty cool. After that, I'd go have a look at the Our Journey to Teams, how Microsoft internally deployed Teams. It's session THR 2381, and it's before the UC Keynote. So UC Keynote will be is usually pretty good, but Microsoft did a great session like this a few years back at LinkConf 2014, I think it was, and it was how they internally deployed Link. This is only a 20-minute session, but it is level 200. I think it'll be really good in how they internally deploy Teams. Obviously, next up, we're going to have the Modern Teamwork, or the UC Keynote, delivered by Lori Wright, who delivers the UC Keynote every year. And I think it'll be a fantastic session. I think we'll see some interesting stuff announced. So that's at 2:15 on Monday, session code GS006. If it's not on if you're at Teams in any way working with Teams and you don't visit this session, we may have to have a discussion. Anyway, after that, we'll be looking, I recommend the driving Teams adoption, so enabling modern office workplace. This will be over in the Hyatt Plaza, so outside the conference center in the Hyatt. But it's run by Guriana. It'll be a session on your team strategy and that sort of thing. It'll be Monday afternoon, so it's a bit more chill. And then you can head off to your after parties and all that sort of jazz. Moving into Tuesday, first thing, shaping IT with Surface Hub 2 and Surface devices. I think this would be a good one to get to if you can. I would imagine that there is a Surface Hub 2 there to look at. Surface Hub 1s are a little hard to get in Australia at the moment. Unfortunately, there's none left. We can't get in, and obviously the Surface Hub 2 is not available just yet. So it'd be interesting to see information on when that's coming out. Another session worth looking at will be the teamwork updates to 365, another session delivered by Lori. If you've been to an Ignite before, if you know anything about the team stack, Lori gives good sessions. It'll just be a nice short one over in the mechanics studio, so that'll be over in the eatery typically. Another good session will be what's new in Microsoft Teams. That'll be on Tuesday at 4 down in the Hyatt as well. Another one worth looking at, just talking about how Teams and how it integrates into Graph and how those sorts of things will come together. Then moving into Wednesday, Wednesday's going to be a big one for UC and Teams. First session I would recommend is the Everything You Need to Know About Skype for Business Server. This is obviously about Skype 2019. So that'll be a nice, be about 11:30 on Wednesday. After that, there's the Intelligent Meetings in Microsoft Teams session, BRK 2188. Another one worth looking at. A good one will be BRK 3230, which is how Microsoft does IT and how they journeyed from Skype for Business into Microsoft Teams. Like I said earlier about the other Microsoft session, these sessions are usually really good. This is a level 300 session. We'll have some nice technical knowledge, great detail on how to get things going. Unfortunately, running at the same time, so if you've got co-workers that are coming with you, as I recommended in my other video, there is the Planning a Seamless Migration from Skype for Business into Teams. Another, once again, very technical session, level 300, be delivered by Francois. So another very good, very technical session. Go and have a look, it's at 2:15, so at the same time as the Microsoft does it, but it'll be session code 3142. And again, at the same time, I'm really gonna have to talk to someone about scheduling of this. There is the Intelligent Communications Across Devices in Microsoft Teams. Now, I think this will be an interesting session purely because there's a few tags I've seen. I don't know, nothing's been announced or anything. There's a few tags I've seen called Vision Intelligence. Now, if you saw the build videos, you would have seen like that Cornetto cone thing in the middle of the room. I think we may see an announcement about that here at Ignite, and I think these vision intelligence tags are relating to that. So get down to the intelligent communications across devices in Microsoft Teams session, BRK 3168. I think it'll be very relevant. Moving into Thursday, we have the Microsoft Teams architecture update. This will be run by Mark Longton, and just how Teams is built and how it will function in the real world. Obviously, for any of those in the UC space, we have a great understanding how Link and therefore Skype and therefore it works, but obviously Teams is a completely different architecture. So myself, I came from a PBX background, I understood SIP very well. Teams moves away from SIP, so I think this will be an important session to get to. A session, it's not about Teams, but I recommend it's relevant to myself, relevant to a couple of the other guys. Josh Blaylock, Pat Richard, a couple of the other guys will be running a session for building a community-led tech conference using Microsoft Teams. And it's how they used Microsoft Teams to run the Comms vNext conferences. So they planned the Comms vNext conferences. We're planning Teams Tuesday in Microsoft Teams. And it's great because we've got people from different businesses, different backgrounds, and how they used that to make their own conference just using Microsoft Teams. So I think that would be a great one to get down to. I'll be there, I have to take photos. Another good one to get down to on Thursday will be best practices for video and voice deployment on Microsoft Teams. Adam Jenkins from Polycom will be there, so this will be a rather good session. It is a longer one, 75 minutes, but it'll be delving into things about how to get video into Teams and make that work really well. Down into Thursday afternoon, there's a couple of good sessions. Deep dive into modern authentication for Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business. This one's going to be by Jamie Stark. So if you don't know, Jamie Stark has been program manager for Skype and now Teams for quite some time. Goes by the hashtag No More Phones on Twitter, and we're getting to the point now that we're not using phones anymore. His kids actually can't dial a PSTN phone. They don't understand the concept. So. Yeah, it would be good to see a couple of sessions from him. Jamie's really technical and knows his stuff in this space, so definitely worth getting down to that one. That's session BRK 3113. Now, away from the sessions, there's a meetup on Thursday afternoon with Stale Hansen and Brian Ricks. Now, Stale Hansen, Brian Ricks, if you don't know those names in the UC space, I'm slightly disappointed. Stale Hansen makes some fantastic tools for managing phone numbers in Skype. He also is a real big fan of OneNote. I think his MVP has actually moved into OneNote, I think. But he's got some great tools. So sfbnumbers.net, for example, if you've got an on-prem deployment and you're trying to manage numbers, he's got some fantastic free tools that you can download. The guy knows absolutely everything there is to do about Skype. And Brian Ricks, so from Brycom. It's kind of funny when he does these conferences, he usually comes along, it's normally his wife's birthday. So we all have to say happy birthday. He's actually where I learned a lot of my stuff from. He did a tech power up thing a few years ago on Microsoft Channel 9. The guy has been around since Christ wore short pants. I think he's absolutely fantastic. This will be a session on asking anything to troubleshoot Skype for Business and Teams. Obviously, there's a lot of resources available for troubleshooting Skype. I think it'll be fantastic to get some info on troubleshooting Teams. So that's an Ask Us Anything session, 75 minutes long. Get down there, get your questions in, go nuts. Moving into Friday, a nice early one after the Ignite party. Another one from Jamie Stark, and this time Isabella Lupin, will be how to manage Microsoft Teams effectively. So I think sessions like these will be really fantastic for those that are moving into Teams, or for example, consultants like myself, who we understand the technology behind Teams, and we understand, it's very simple to turn on. These days, it's a little slide in Office 365, you turn it on. But I think it's important to understand how to manage that effectively. Things like setting naming policies for groups, because it's all good to let users work the way they want to work. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of let the users work they want to work. Otherwise, they're going to go grab a company credit card and buy something else. But if you don't manage that effectively, we coin it as Teams creep, or team creep, where you just get and mess upon mess upon mess of teams for every little thing. And I think managing that effectively is going to be fantastic. So Jamie will have a session on that, and it'll be quite good. A little bit later on Friday, we're going to have another session that is relevant due to the ease of use of Teams. I think it's going to be important that a lot of people understand how data compliance and security work in Teams. So this is BRK 3135. Learn more about security and compliance for Microsoft Teams. Be run by Mark Longton. Mark's been pretty good in the speaker space for a couple of years, usually delivers some great stuff. It's another level 300 session, recommend it. It'll be quite detailed, and that'll probably be, that's about lunchtime. And this is my thing, if you're honestly looking at leaving early on Friday and you have the ability to change your flights, maybe stay another night, maybe holiday or something like that, there's some great sessions delivered on Friday. As well, there'll be the Troubleshooting Microsoft Teams, which is a deep dive, 75-minute session, level 300 session run by Carolyn Blanding. And that'll be really getting into the nuts and bolts and troubleshooting why Teams doesn't work. It'll be session BRK 3120. But it goes from 12:30 till 1:45. So once again, there's some real big deep dive sessions that are worth going to. But if you're leaving early, then obviously you're not going to be able to make that.
What's going on?
Totally not recording. Well, that about wraps me up for today, but obviously keep across my Twitter for anything that gets announced or any new bits and pieces. I'll be keeping across everything that's announced in the UC&C space regarding Microsoft Teams, and hopefully get one of these wrap-up videos out each night. So if you've got any questions, pop them down below, flick me up on Twitter. Otherwise, hit me up on ucmadscientist.com. Thanks. Catch you next time.